In person, I think we are celebrating a historic day. To me, there is no International Women's Day requirement today other than to remember that at one time it was needed. I think these situations, pay parity, women get paid lesser, glass ceiling, all of these things are very much part of the debate in order to achieve equality at the workplace. But I think as long as the working system continues to be in the way it was defined in a world where only men went to work, and women try to plug into the same system, I think these situations will continue because it is not designed to work as per a women's life cycle. But the interesting part is that last 2 years, the pandemic has forced us to entirely rethink work for everyone, whether it is men, women, high up, low down in the sort of corporate ladder, whatever it is. It has got people to rethink about work. So I think this is the perfect opportunity that when we are recalibrating how we work, we are also starting to think about our work-life balance. Almost everybody is about health and body and mind and what we are doing to the environment and work. So I think this kind of recalibration has almost become an opportunity where work-life balance for everyone will be thought through. So I think this is the one time, if we look at this in a very democratic way, we will get rid of all these ails from the past, where women have to think about all this pay parity and glass ceiling and all of these things. I used to think I wanted to be a writer. I used to think I wanted to be a news journalist. And I still want to be those two things, but more than any of those things, I want to be the Prime Minister of this country. So I wanted to be a journalist because I just love writing, and I still write a lot. I like public speaking. So I thought journalism, why not on media, especially when I was young and deciding what I wanted to be, used to have only Doordarshan News and somebody coming and reciting 10 pieces of news to you. But as I have seen in the last 2 decades, journalists are instrumental in impacting the way people think today. In fact, they are more or less media journalism is more or less the main way people think now. There's no huge reading left in people's life. They hear and see. And I always like to make impact through my work. So which is why I got more and more fascinated by thinking maybe I should have been one of these amazing journalists. And my dream to be a Prime Minister is not due to any politics or any affiliation or any kind of interest. I just feel that is the one position in this country that can make maximum impact to people's lives. I define success for myself personally is the ability to lead the majority of my day, which is a working day, in a very soul satisfying way. And for me, soul satisfying is being intellectually challenged and coming up with against those challenges and producing something that I'm satisfied with and that my client is satisfied with. I want to contribute in a way that makes impact to my profession. Which is why over the last almost 3 decades practiced architecture in a certain way, and today it has been coined by my firm as a philosophy of soul. Soul is S for sustainability, O for optimization, U for unique, and L for livable. To me, if I through my daily day, if in my work I can manifest these 4 principles, then it is a successful day. I only gauge success by my experience of the day. I do not gauge it with any financial parameter. So I think in the last 2 decades dealing with a lot of millennials and my colleagues at work, I think that it is nobody really puts in their life and soul, especially as your responsibilities in life grow, families happen, children happen. Nobody puts in their life and soul for purely altruistic reasons, that financial is not my reason. Just going to work is my reason, because you're always having to balance off something against something else, right? So if you're wanting to balance off being a full-time mom for a career, but if that career is for, yes, some people may be inspired by charitable causes, but majority of the people, if they're going to work, are not doing it for charity. They are doing it also for a financial gain. So the fact that it should not be measured against financial gain, I am in disagreement with. Because you're balancing of something else. It is also a reasonable yardstick to measure by within your own organization, because as you get more senior and as you get more responsibility, obviously your financial growth should be there. And if it is not there, then it clearly means that something in your work cycle is preventing you from growth, right? So whether it is a glass ceiling, whether it is your inability to give in the time you want, whether it is you're lacking the support system at home, whether it is you don't have the social network to support your children and their growing years, or whether you don't have an equitable relationship of home responsibilities with a spouse or partner. So there is a lot to question when you are being financially constrained and you know there is a possibility of improving it. You need to question that what is coming in your way of doing it. If I as an individual feel that I can grow in my organization, and that growth means I'm going from, let's say, deputy manager to a senior manager to a manager or whatever the situation is, then I should aim for where I want to get, right? If I'm not ambitious and I'm comfortable where I am, that's fine. Then I cannot complain about financial or complain about this or that. But if I want to be somewhere where I think I have the ability to be, but something else is coming in my way, then I need to address that something else. Okay, but I definitely think that today we are in a position, I'm not saying always, but I think mostly, if we just plan our way properly so that all our life responsibilities get taken care of. Because I don't know a woman who will say, I don't want to take care of my family responsibilities. I don't know such a woman. Okay, but if it's planned in a way where the career and the responsibilities, as they have moved in the past for men, can move together for women, then I don't see why a woman cannot get to whatever financial or other seniority aspects that she wants to get to. I think it can be dealt with in today's day and world, absolutely, but you may have to make that extra effort to make it happen. They need to understand their problems themselves first, then make everybody around them address it. So I had a lot of support system to get where I did. I made absolute use of my mother and my mother-in-law to bring up my children. I was married to a very equal partner. And I used all my friends and my relatives in full measure. If somebody was not available to look after my child, then somebody else's or somebody else's. Otherwise, I was very open and free to bring my children to work. I have traveled with my children for work meetings abroad and made them sit in the client's reception with a box of Lego. I have decided that my parameters for judging me are not the same as parameters for judging men have been in the past. If I have that much commitment to my child that I will not abandon them if they need me, I will have that much commitment to my project that I will not abandon it. And I think I'm not ashamed to show that both coexist. So the first thing I want to say from my personal experience, and I can quote 20 examples, that women need to learn to be proud of the life they live and carry it out there in the open. So if they have to receive 5 calls from home about दूध वाले ने दूध नहीं भेजा क्या करें, then they should be happy to receive it, and their colleagues should be happy to hear that this can happen. The whole day long, there is no need to pretend that there is no other world that exists other than work. Because if I have dealt with the दूध वाला problem that emerged, only then I can focus. If I've heard it and quietly put it down, my mind will be over there. So I think it's perfectly fine to discuss homework नहीं हो रहा, it's perfectly fine to discuss medical problems हो रहे हैं pregnancy के, it's perfectly fine to bring all the family problems to work to discuss with colleagues, to tell a client, I'm sorry my child is really sick today, I cannot do this meeting, but I will make sure the work is done and it will be delivered to you. I think it's perfectly fine to say it. Typically, earlier times, a man client would not even be aware that he has a sick child. Right. So for me, I think what has worked as a success mantra is that I carry my responsibilities, which are not responsibility, they're joys of my life. My home, my children, my pets, my parents-in-laws, they're the joys in my life. So I carry them out there open on my sleeves for everyone to see, and I am never apologetic. And as long as I make sure all the balls are juggled well and never dropped. And I encourage every woman to fearlessly live as a woman. My message is, this is a very exhausting profession, but it gives you more joy and benefits than you can imagine. I'm assuming all of them have joined this profession having a certain dream to be an architect, designer, interior designer, landscape designer, whatever, I assure them that you get so much satisfaction out of being this professional. But this is not a job which is a 9-to-5 job. So architecture is a lifestyle choice. So it has to become one with your lifestyle. So think of your day as a 24-hour day in which you do all your activities of life, which includes a profession. It is not a compartmentalized profession. Do not go into it thinking that I have a 9-to-5 or 8-to-4 job and that's the end of the story. You'll have to learn to enjoy it as much as you enjoy life and live it 24 hours in your subconscious. That is the only way you will succeed. Today, the world's most rapidly urbanizing city. So the work is going to be in the tier 2, tier 3 towns, or still is actually. Actually, most of them, how many construction sites do you see when you go to Delhi? How many when you drive around Delhi? How many do you see? Yes, of course, we have the Central Vista project getting built, which is a mega construction. But drive around Delhi. How many sites do you see? Drive around Nagpur. All of it looks like it's in construction. Right? Drive around Surat. All of Surat looks like it's under construction. Okay, so I think a very clever person would be one who would stay in those cities, develop their networks there. That is where the work is. Okay, that is where the opportunity lies. Okay, so I do not think in today's day and age, maybe 20 years ago, yes, when the world was not so connected, information flow was not connected, you needed to be in cities to know the latest and the best. Okay, but that is no longer the situation, right? Right. I mean, today, though, we don't even need to be at the workplace to work. So why do we need to be in Delhi to know about what people of Delhi know? There is no reason, right? So I would advise the people in tier 2, tier 3 town that you are likely to be more successful if you make the best of the opportunity available there, which is definitely a lot more than it is in Delhi and Mumbai. And there are many firms, I can tell you, I can count, there are many firms, some of the best luxury hospitality design firms are now out of these tier 2, tier 3 towns in Rajasthan, because Rajasthan understands hospitality and it has been growing it for a while. So it has built the network, and the ability to understand and provide that is actually greater there than it is in Delhi today. Right? I can quote you many such examples. There are hospital design firms out of small towns in Chennai which are doing the best hospitals in the country. Because they have mastered that, they are focusing on that, they have people, actually in some ways, human resource is less transient in the small towns. They value the job they have, opportunity they have much more. So actually the workforce tends to be a lot more stable and growth becomes for a firm easier. So I have no issues today that I feel that anybody in a tier 2, tier 3 town should be facing as far as my profession is concerned.